For many of us, it's the time of year to get ready and make the most of summertime and do some proper big rides. At least that's what I do in summertime. So it's a great time of year to think about what you need to do. Of course, it does take some big endurance fitness and a few little pointers to try to make the most of it. So this is how to smash the big rides. When it comes to training, probably getting started is the hardest part. So why not think about setting yourself a goal? Maybe a big multi-day stage race, a big point-to-point ride, or a big bike packing adventure, something like that. Then it's time to stick it in the diary, then you've got something to work towards. A proper training plan is going to help you get to those goals as well. So for help, you could consult with a professional trainer or mountain bike coach. We'll be able to help you create the ideal plan for you. As a guideline, you should be looking at a weekly program consisting of 2 long distance aerobic rides, 2 to 3 interval sessions, and a couple of gym sessions. Don't forget your rest days. Maybe even before you start training, it's worth thinking about the type of bike you've got and the type of ride you're going to do. Something like an epic point-to-point ride, you might not want to do it on a big enduro bike. You might want to pick something a bit smaller and lighter. Depends what you've got really, and try and tailor that ride around it. I've got this Canyon Lux here. This is my bike of choice for doing big days out. You've also got to make sure it's comfortable, so start thinking about your saddle, your grips, and spending as much time on that bike as you can before the big day. Also, a full suspension bike is going to make those big long off-road days a bit more comfortable. Think about your tyres, how much rolling resistance you've got versus how much grip you think you need. I like to run super fast tyres on this type of bike, so I know it's super efficient. Also, how you're going to navigate that big day out. When it comes to following routes, I do like running a big screen on my computer, so I've got this Garmin 1030 up here. Super easy to follow, so I know I'm not going to get lost. Preparation again for the big day is going to be important. It's something I try and practice as well. So how much am I going to take with me? Fuel wise, how much water, food, and even on my planning when I'm doing the map, is there anywhere along the way that I can stop for a coffee, fill up my backpack with more food? So really practice those things so they can catch you out on the day. Also spares for the bike that you might not be able to get whilst you're out on those big days. So possibly a mech hanger, a spare gear cable, and any tools you think you might need, a chain breaker that you're not going to find when you're out in the middle of nowhere. So try and be prepared. Your base fitness is where you are now. It's the foundation upon which you can begin to build your fitness, become stronger, fitter and faster on the bike. To develop your fitness, you'll want to start building up your rides. Nothing too intense to start with, but long, steady rides to engage the aerobic system. Each week of your training plan, you should factor in ride extensions, whether you push on for an additional loop or just another 30 minutes or so. Gradually build up the time and distance you cover on your bike each week. Going too fast too soon can lead to injury, which is going to set back your progress. Learning how to pace that ride does take a bit of practice. It's super easy to go too fast too soon. When you're fueled up, you're rested and you're psyched up for a big ride. So it might take a little bit of practice. The things I look at are the distance and the meters climbed, and that's going to tell me pretty much how hard the ride is. And of course I've done it quite a lot of times, so I've got a good idea in my head about how fast I can go and keep it up for the whole day. You can use things like heart rate monitors and power meters to do this, but I'm guessing if you've got those things, you've probably got a good idea already how to pace them. But again, they take a bit of practice and learning how much power you can use, what your FTP is and how long you'll be able to use that power for. Also, you don't want to run out of energy and bonk, so fueling is super important. You're going to need a good mix of proteins, fats, carbs and sugars to keep going and stave off the cramps. Again, this is probably worth practicing in those training rides. I like to eat normal food as much as possible. A bit of sort of protein flapjack, some bananas, stuff that I know is not going to mess with my stomach. Of course, you've got to think about how much water you're going to take with you as well. And if you've got a really tough, challenging and hot ride, sometimes water isn't enough. You're going to have to stick something in there, some electrolyte tabs, so you don't get those cramps. So sometimes I take those tubes or those little tabs, fill your bottle with water, drop one of those in, it's going to keep you going. Tapering your training down towards that big race or event is going to be really important. Now this is something that professional endurance athletes do a lot, and it's actually pretty complicated. You can't keep your peak fitness all year, so they look for different times of the year, maybe even a couple of times a year to actually peak and then trough. And they need to taper their training down to do that. It is really complicated, but if you look at the simpler side of it, basically I mean, for those big events, make sure you're not going into it super tired. So reduce your time on the bike and the amount of training in the week or two before it, so you're not aching and you're ready to go for that big race or event. We've talked a lot about sort of preparing yourself physically for this big day or the big ride you're going to do, but don't underestimate how hard it could be mentally to try and overcome that challenge as well. I do think the physical side will help you with this, because if you're feeling fit and you know you've prepared a lot, you should be feeling quite confident that you can do that thing. But there's definitely ways to try and help yourself as you go during your training. Try and reward yourself. Maybe you've done a big day out on the bike, think of how you can possibly reward yourself. That does help. Do it with other people as well. Just that sort of team building exercise of dragging someone else along, it's going to make it that bit easier. I try and visualize myself doing it. So if I know that I can ride 50 miles, you know, if I can picture myself doing 60, 70, 80 miles, it's not that big of a stretch to actually go and do it. So there's a few tips on how to smash a massive ride. I love doing it. Actually, the most fun bit for me is planning that ride. So getting on Google Maps or Komoot or whatever, plotting out the map and sort of looking forward to that good day out. And I've learned definitely a few things along the way, and that is really important that you do prepare properly. Try and make sure you're fit enough so it isn't a really big stretch to do it on the day. If you want to see a couple of videos that I've done, some big rides, they might inspire you to do some similar ones. There's a summer solstice ride up there where I rode from sun up till sundown. Now I did the opposite this winter, rode from sundown to sun up. So 2 videos where I did some pretty big days out, or nights out should I say. Get planning and hopefully you do some cool rides this summer. Give us a thumbs up, like this video and hit that subscribe button.